I've never been a big fan of dull, pedestrian, idle chit-chat. I never liked it when I used to work in the office environment where people just almost said scripted lines like, how was your weekend? So how about the Jets? The weather looks like that, and that coffee's nice. It always seemed like a desperate attempt to be social rather than have any kind of meaningful conversation. For me, there's nothing wrong with silence when there's nothing to be said. In fact, there's some kind of comforting aspect of afterwards, in retrospect, whether it was with an ex-girlfriend or a friend, where you realize you just spent time not saying a word, whether it was driving in a car, and it's that unspoken bond that really kind of comforts you, makes you feel good. So the nervous, fake, idle chit-chat and small talk that happens in the office and also happens in social environments really tended to, and still, if I'm honest, tends to make me uncomfortable. I find it boring. My mind drifts off. Though I always have to remind myself small talk's function, its function is to gauge trust, to relax the parties so that we might more deeply have a conversation, open up, show our real selves, share our real thoughts, get away from the idle chit-chat, which I think is a gatekeeper. But what's happened, especially in the politically correct environment, the office environment, is what happens is that we stay in that mode for safety's sake. We dare not reveal things. We're not allowed to say things. So we just stay in an impersonal, idle, and almost robotic, mechanical-like, safe way of just spouting words. So we can remain neutral, which to me is really, really odd. I suppose shows why I never really liked that environment. But here's the important thing I noticed, that I could never have meaningful friendships or relationships with platonic people or even progress romantically with a girl if after the initial chit-chat, small talk, getting to know you, throwing words back and forth and getting a gist of, that's this person's lexicon, this is what they believe, these are their values, this is how they express these thoughts, and so on and so forth, and vice versa. They get to know me through a genuinely open, non-chit-chatty kind of way. The chit-chat disappears and it becomes just an open conversation of what I think and what they think, and the walls kind of come down. That's what I really enjoy. It's another reason I really don't like the dating process. I like that being over. So I know the real person more. I know what they're naturally saying without the formality of being on their best behavior when they first met me. I want the real person. Similarly, in conversation, I really enjoy when the real person espouses their opinions. They don't edit themselves in front of me. And as such, I feel a sense of comfort. So I'm getting better at appreciating small talk, particularly, especially, if not exclusively, with a person I just met, because we don't know each other. I don't know how they were raised. I don't know what they've been through. I don't know how they're unconsciously protecting themselves by not letting out too much. I don't know their courage compared to mine. And I've noticed even when I talk to some guys online recently, they've actually just replaced the pedestrian chit-chat of office space and on the street of asking about the weather and dull, safe topics like that. They've moved into the manosphere and they've replaced the empty chit-chat with philosophical chit-chat. That is not their words. Again, it's a script. So they talk philosophically like a professor, as though they've memorized lines, but they're not telling me their thoughts. They're telling me someone else's thoughts. And I'm sure you'll notice that someone who is clearly well-spoken, intelligent, but their personality doesn't come through and you don't quite know why. You can't put your finger on it. And I've noticed that a lot of these people, their words come from other people. So they're leaning on the lexicon of people they respect, authors they've read, or better people than them, or at least people that they think are better than them, and they take on their words and they repeat their words, and they speak in a very meme-like way. So why am I saying all this? I guess it's not just to be aware of real conversations and be frustrated with just idle chit-chat that goes nowhere because it's safe. You're only going to find the friends, partners, people you're close to by letting go of the idle chit-chat. It's a great way for a hello, a greeting to break the ice. It's a great gatekeeper to intimacy, to gauge trust, but particularly when you're looking for your tribe, your friends, people that are like you. It's important to let go of the chit-chat. As a gatekeeper, it has its function, but after that, I know for myself, whenever I went out with a female, I'd always ask very open questions. I wouldn't edit myself. I want to get away from the chit-chat. I want to find out what the person's about. Questions that are important aren't, so how about the politics on TV, or how about what's going on in the world today, which are interesting because the way in which they speak about the political and the umbrella topics of society, the non-personal, the way people tend to express their views on the public sphere, how they speak about it from a personal reference point can tell you a bit about who they might be, especially with the lexicon they use and how they duck and weave through conversations. So for me, it's always important to pay attention to how the person openly expresses who they are, because ultimately that's what you want to get down to, the closeness of people. That's where you get trust. You can't trust someone who's out there politically, who's out there fighting the system all the time, yet you never get a sense of who they are and whether or not you can trust them. You can only get that through getting to the personal, to seeing if you can relate to them as an individual person, not as a political person. And I found important things are asking them questions. Asking them questions like, what do you think, blah, blah, blah. If someone asked you to A, B, and C, what would you respond? If you had to choose between A and B, which would you choose? Ask questions about the person and then listen and see how they answer. Do they defensively answer from a public, general, politically correct, defensive position, or do they have the courage to reveal who they are? Most people play it safe. And it's natural to play it safe until you get to know the person. But especially in today's environment, I've noticed people are more and more walled off from ever revealing the personal. And sometimes there's just nothing there because they've been conditioned through the years to be so impersonal, that everything is political, and that's the only way they have. Most people's personas are political. They're not personal. There's very little individuality out there, which is a shame, both in terms of friendship and finding a lover or compatible mate. So I guess what I'm saying is, in this way, you not just reveal yourself by sort of being more honest in the stuff we talk about, being introspective and so forth, but in asking personal questions and listening, you reveal not only yourself, you reveal others, which is really important in finding people you can honestly relate to. Be honest and demand honesty from others. Ask them questions. It's cathartic too. So, have you noticed any of this come to light more and more now, where we're forced to isolate from each other, where the ease of chit-chat could get you by, but now, more than ever, meaningful conversation, because we can't just casually bump into whoever, and whether it's our social media feeds or just walking around in general public with large crowds, you feel like you're socially plugged in. You actually aren't. It reveals how little meaningful connections you have, how less of an individual you are with your own thoughts, how empty you might be, let alone trying to find someone. You know, if you're an empty person trying to find empty people, there's a lot of them out there, but you suddenly realize it does not satisfy. Let me know in the comment section if you guys have noticed any of this, especially lately. I know I have. And how maybe important it's become to be more honest, and how essential it is to find genuine people. Let me know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up. If you like this video, hit the thumbs down if you didn't. Don't forget to comment below, and if you feel like saying thank you, there are donation options below. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye.